Hi everyone. In this video tutorial, I'm going to talk about for loop and how to use it in JavaScript. For loop is another type of loop that we can use in JavaScript, like while loop and do while loop. I can say is more structured or more organized. Whenever you want to use a for loop, you start with the keyword for, and a for loop consists of three parts: one, 2, and 3. These parts are separated with a semicolon. So let's talk about the very first part. First part is called initialization. This happens only once, meaning when you write this for loop, when the JavaScript interpreter hits this loop, it will initialize whatever variable or variables you have in here. Mostly we use this variable to control our loop, to count the number of loops that we go through, and so many other things. For instance, if I want to write a loop to print from 1 to 4, I can create a variable here and initialize it with the starting number. So I is equal 1. Very similar to what I have done in my while loop. If you haven't looked at while loop, please go ahead and check the while loop in my channel. So this happens only once. So I become 1 and it would not be touched anymore in this area. The second part is the condition. This is where every single time JavaScript interpreter checks if the condition is met or not. If the condition results in true, then it will let you execute the code inside the loop. Otherwise, it will break the loop and it actually will go to the end of the loop and start executing the code right after this. So here is the condition. I want to print from 1 to 4. So my condition should be I is less than 5. So while I is less than 5, I want this to loop run. The last part is to actually get to this condition. So in order to get to that condition, I want to print 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to increment the value of I. So at some point it becomes 5 and the loop stops. So here, in this case, I can simply go ahead and do I++. One thing you have to remember is this. Part 1 happens only once. Condition gets checked every single time, and the increment or decrement will happen at the end of the loop right here, right? So let's go ahead and write a very simple loop that prints from 1 to 4. Okay, let's go ahead and code. So the very first thing I need is I will create a variable, a temporary variable, to hold the result of this loop. So I go ahead, write my loop. As I said, is consists of three parts separated with semicolon. If I want this loop to cover more than one JavaScript statements, I have to open and close the curly bracket. So let's go through the very first part. I want a variable to hold the value for me. I want to print from 1 to 4, right? Second is my condition, so while I is less than 5. And the last one is the increment or decrement. In my case, because I want to go from 1 to 5, I will increment the value. So right here, since I'm in a loop, I have to append the value. So instead of writing str equal str, I can simply say str plus equal, right? Meaning add whatever is in str into back to str. Then I will print the I, and then I will add a br tag to this, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and print this. Inner HTML is equal str. So if I go ahead and just print this, you can see the value, value 1, 2, 3, 4 is printed. Of course, I can make the start dynamic, end dynamic, and so on. Now, if I want to print this in reverse, let's see how we do that. So let's go ahead and start my for loop. As I said, a for loop starts consists of three parts separated with two semicolons. So here I want var I to be equal to 4, right? Because I want to start from 4. I have to go all the way down to while I is greater than 0. So I want to stop at 1. So of course I have to go ahead and decrement the value this time. So I'm going and just simply put the same content there, nothing changed. And of course, I'll put the string back into the buffer. Let me go ahead and refresh this page, see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more thing about the loop is, for loop is, what part is optional, one part is mandatory. To believe it or you believe it or not, you can write a for loop just like this. All these parameters for the for loop is optional. So I can simply go ahead and say if I equal 3, then break. Do you remember break from switch statement? So it breaks the loop. Well, of course, I have to increment the value of or decrement the value of I based on my need. So in my case, I'll go ahead and make I equal 0, right? Look at this. And I go just console.log, and I print the value of I. So look at this program. So I initialize the variable I to 0. I have no initialization, no condition, and no increment and decrement. I simply print the value of I, and I'm checking and having a condition inside the loop that says I is equal 3, break the loop. So as soon as this code is executed, JavaScript would jump to the end of the loop, and then I increment the value. Let's go ahead and see how does it look like. So if I go ahead and inspect element, go to the console, you can see I start from 0, 1, 2, and 3. Right after this, the loop breaks and stops. I hope you enjoyed the loop as well. As I said, with the for loop or any other loop, you can do so many things. You just have to understand the concept. Thank you and have a good day.